Constructed in 1876, the original portion of the building was designed by J.S. McKean with an architectural style that incorporates elements of French Second Empire and Renaissance revival. It is a three-story building of smooth ashlar stone and highly ornamented carved limestone. Each story is divided by a heavy belt course of different ornament and detail. A large bracketed cornice that originally supported a straight-sided mansard roof and dormer crowns the building in addition to metal cresting running along the top. The most prominent and articulated bays appear as pavilions due to the amount of ornamental stone carving and the slight protrusion. This protrusion creates a sense of hierarchy, originally to emphasize the entrance, presently to maintain symmetry. An identical adjoining second half, designed by Harvey Chatton, was constructed at a later date in 1891, with the only distinguishable difference being a small variation in the color of the stone. The lighter stone was given a darker stain, but along with the 1970s cleaning, the sun has bleached the stain to reveal its original off-white color. The addition detracts from the vertical emphasis originally intended, but it contributes to an image of wealth and elegance and strength portrayed by the building today. It is an unusually intact and outstanding example of a high-style architecture that is rare in the city of Quincy. The structure was the product of Henry Francis Joseph Ricker, a German immigrant who became a prominent self-made man. Ricker was born in 1822 in Germany and came to the United States with his parents in 1839 at the age of 17. First in New Orleans, they traveled to St. Louis, Missouri for only 4 months, then arrived in Quincy by steamboat in March of 1840. During his first years in Quincy, Ricker was engaged in several other businesses before embarking on a banking career. Ricker began working for Governor John Wood to help pay for 2 lots that his father had purchased by sawing and splitting tree trunks to cordwood. T. Hunt, owner of a grocery store, saw how hard Henry Ricker worked and offered him a job in his store. He later worked in St. Louis, Missouri in a dry goods store before returning to work in Quincy at a mercantile business. By working in these various retail businesses, Ricker gained a diversified and in-depth experience of the business field. Later, he formed a partnership with Leopold Arnson, opening a general store, which they operated until 1857. About 1859, when immigration to the western country was at its height, he started selling passenger tickets for European steamer lines at 7th and Hampshire, a profitable business since Quincy was still a port of entry for this country. This developed into a banking and exchange business. His interest in business grew simultaneously, allowing him to purchase the banking business of his former employer, John Wood and Company, in 1864. Now, between 1865 and 1876, he conducted business there, and because there was no vault in the building for safekeeping, his employees would carry the money to Ricker's home every evening in a basket to place in a small safe he had. Due to the growth of the business, Ricker purchased ground in 1875 to erect the present private bank building and hired J.S. McKean to design it. The bank was constructed in 1876 and opened for business in October of that year. On opening day, storms kept several people away from attending, but still, hundreds were there to inspect the new bank. In 1881, the bank was reorganized as the Ricker National Bank when it consolidated with the Quincy National Bank. Ricker still retained the greater portion of the stock within the company. Harvey Chatton was hired to double the bank's square footage in 1891 and designed the addition as an exact replica in order to maintain the symmetry of the facade, a typical feature of Second Empire and Renaissance Revival architecture. In 1908, another remodeling project removed the dormer and mansard roof from the building for unknown reasons. After many years of business, the bank, known as Quincy Ricker Bank by 1930, was liquidated and closed its doors early in the Great Depression. At one time, the Ricker Bank was one of the greatest banking institutions in the New West and base of operations for one of Quincy's leading financial figures during the 1870s and 1880s. Ricker's business endeavors were not just limited to banking, however. He not only founded the bank, but he was also the owner of an insurance company and a leading stockholder in the Quincy, Missouri and Pacific Railroad, a director of the Quincy Gas and Electric Company, and treasurer of the Menke and Grimm Mill Company. In 1858, Ricker was unanimously elected police magistrate of Quincy, a position that he held for 4 years, being re-elected in 1860. Also in 1884, Ricker was the unanimous choice of the Democratic Party for state treasurer. The nomination came unwanted. for he did not care for the honors of public office, preferring to do his service for the public as a private citizen. A resident of Quincy for nearly 60 years, Ricker's life was an active one before he died in 1904. The bank stands today as a testament to the businessman. This Historic Quincy Business District podcast was produced by WGEM. Special thanks to the Gardner-Denver Museum of Architecture and Design, the Historical Society of Quincy and Adams County, and Quincy Preserves for providing information. For more information, you can visit www.downtownquincy.com or walk to the HQBD office at 128 North 5th Street. I'm WGEM's Rich Kane.